What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Rocco and Ryan MMA Show. Today is episode 5, and of course, we are recapping UFC 250 and Rocco's fight against Neil Magny. I am in rainy Maine, and Rocco, you're at your gym in Minnesota. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Good. It doesn't even look like you've been in a fight. You have a little scratch right there.
Yeah.
I do understand that you just had an MRI. Tell me a little bit about what you needed that for.
No, I mean, I just kind of went in. I hurt my knee a little bit, and I just needed to get it checked before to get cleared to fight, and then just to see if there's any serious damage or whatnot. But I don't think it's too serious. It might be something where get a quick scope, and ideally we get right back in there. That's the ideal situation.
For sure. Now, the fight was very close, somewhat controversial. A lot of people all across Twitter, all across MMA platforms felt like you won rounds 1 and 2, and Neil Magny clearly won that third round. I don't know if you saw what Magny said post-fight, but he was very disappointed with his performance. He thought the fight was extremely close as well. Now that you had a little bit of time to digest this, how do you feel?
I mean, I definitely felt like I won round 1 and 2, and obviously he whooped my ass third round. So it's kind of that thing. I don't know if I wasn't able to run this camp at all, so I don't know if that affected the cardio exactly, or if it was just the smaller cage with being a little bit closer. I obviously did a lot more grappling. I fought a terrible fight. That's really what happened. I had a game plan. I felt good going into the fight. We had everything set into place, and I just went out there and he came out southpaw right away, which threw me off and really kind of threw off my whole game. And really, I don't think I could fight worse. So it's kind of hard to be like, it sucks when you feel like you didn't fight to your potential, but you still feel like you did enough to win. And then to feel like the judges took it from me, and especially 230-27s. I don't know what exactly how fights are judged anymore, I guess, but that seemed like a blatant robbery in itself there, where even some people posted, like, imagine if I dominated the third round. Well, I would have dominated the third round. I still lost the fight.
Yeah.
I would have lost by split decision that would have been one of the biggest robberies of all time. But
See,
I'm like, yeah, go on.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's just tough. It's tough to feel like it's hard to complain too much when I fought such a shitty fight. You know what I mean? It's hard to be like, really complain and be like, this is what I earned, But I do think that I did enough to win. Even right after the fight was scored, Neil turned around, walked up to me right away and said, that was bullshit. You won the fight. So I'm like, that in itself obviously shows Neil's character. And, I do think I won the fight.
Wow. So Neil said that to you in cage?
In the cage, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's saying a lot right there. One of the things that he did say, Rocco, was that he had a very difficult time trying to figure out your timing. Could you tell that you were frustrating him early on?
No, honestly, I wasn't pulling the trigger. I was even my corners yelling at me. We had all these calls setups and all these setups, and I wasn't doing anything. And it was more shocking that my jab was landing so easily. Like, I didn't go in thinking I would be able to go jab for jab with him. You know what I mean? I thought that he'd probably be able to out jab me with his reach. And so it threw me off that the jab was landing. And I really should have just really stuck behind the jab a lot more. I think it could have been a way different fight. And then I just got in these weird pissing matches. And just my whole game came off when he came out southpaw. Obviously, he was, I think, getting ready for those calf kicks. So that was something that they game planned for, and they came out and I don't want to say he executed it, but he took over in the third round, and it's a tough pill to swallow. It was a big fight. Obviously, that was the last fight of the contract, and with probably a top 15 spot on the possibilities if I would have dominated there. So it's tough.
I want to get to the third round and then the contract here in a minute, but I want to start with at the end of that first round. What did your corner tell you after the first round? Did they feel like you won the first round? And what were some of the game plans, changes or things that they wanted you to do moving into rounds 2 and 3?
Yeah, no, it was definitely, they said it was close round, but they said that I won the round. They're like, no, it was close round, but you won the round. And I thought so too, because I was on his back for, a couple minutes there. Again, it was a lot against on the cage, and it's one of those things I didn't want to get in that. They didn't want me to get in that pissing battle of clinch work with him, because he's good in the clinch. But no, they just said I need to pull the trigger. I wasn't pulling the trigger. They wanted me to set up my cross, like they wanted me to step in more with the cross and really just believe in my striking a little bit more. And I definitely fell flat. I fell flat that night, and that's the most disappointing thing is just not. I didn't listen that well, and I definitely didn't pull the trigger how I thought I would. And that's the hardest part of the whole fight.
So I look back at the significant strikes and whatnot throughout the fight. The control time was 4 minutes and 44 seconds for you to 2 minutes and 19 seconds for Magny. Takedowns, obviously 1 for you, 0 for Magny. The significant strikes, 37 for you, 64 for Neil. And then total strikes, he won 82-46. Now, a lot of that I felt came in the third round as far as those strikes go. In the second round, you had the biggest moments. You landed the biggest shot. It clearly stunned him, and then you had a huge takedown. Did that takedown affect your energy moving forward? Did you really have to get a lot of that energy to get him there? Is that something that?
No, I mean, I should have just started shooting real takedowns. It was the first, I think, real takedown that I shot that fight was on the legs, in deep. And it was kind of like not a lot of energy when I got that one. It was more just staying in the clinch with him and trying to win those underhook battles was a little bit more grappling than I'm used to in fights. And it's the reason why I pulled back in grappling in fights, because I think that's something that gets me tired. It's weird, but because when I'm training, I don't get tired like that. I don't know if there's something that I'm doing in the fights. I got to figure it out. It's some mental block I'm hitting right now. I think that I know I'm there. You know what I mean? I mean, I had that fight with Damian really close. Now the fight with Neil's controversial, where I'm like, realistically, you go look at my last 11 fights, and it's like, I don't really feel like I've really lost a fight in my last 11. You know what I mean? Like the Damian fight, I thought it was kind of like the opposite with the Damian fight in me. So I thought obviously I didn't get him to the ground, but I was controlling the clinch the whole time. I had double underhooks. I mean, his strike count's going up because he's doing these soft hits on the cage that are doing absolutely nothing. So I don't know how much you count those, but no, I'm just disappointed in myself mostly. But I still felt good. I thought going into the third, and I don't know what happened in the third. I got to rewatch it. I haven't watched it. I'm too embarrassed to go watch it.
So did you just basically run out of gas? Like, can you give us any sort of indication as to maybe what transpired? Because to me, it looked like you just didn't have any energy left. At some point in that third round, it looks like you just hit a wall.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like there was well, first I definitely thought I was up on the scorecards. I thought I was up 2 rounds. And I was telling myself to pull the trigger, and I just wasn't pulling the trigger. And then it was like, then he was just getting that forward momentum the whole time. So now he's chasing me down around the cage, and now I'm starting to get tired. So I'm like, oh shit. So then my brain's switching to like, all right, let's just get out of this round and win the fight, and then go from there. You know what I mean? And because at that time I still think I'm up. I don't want to take a stupid shot or take a stupid chance, and because I know I'm tired, so I'm not going to shoot a half-ass takedown and try to make it where he finishes me. And because at this time also, I think I'm winning the fight. So it's hard to be like, I didn't feel like I had to take an unnecessary chance at that moment, but I was definitely tired. I don't know exactly what happened or why I got so tired, but I think it's a lot of those exchanges and me just not pulling the trigger, waiting for him to hit me instead of me going was kind of the issue that was happening.
Now, when the judge was getting ready or they were getting ready to render their decision, and you're standing in the cage, the referee has a hold of both you and Neil's wrists, and he's getting ready to raise one of your hand. You hear 30-27. What is your mind thinking, right? Because clearly, I thought you won the first 2 rounds. That third round was Neil's. What's going through your head?
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, 30-27. I'm like, first, I know I didn't win the third round. So in my head, I'm like, I didn't win the third round. But I'm also in my head, I'm like, there's no way he won all 3 rounds. So in my head, I'm like, the judges fucked up and gave me a 30-27 for some reason. And they're just idiots, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, there's no way that it was a 30-27. There's just no way that was a 30-27 fight. So I don't know how they got that. So I'm like, shit, I just won like a weird decision, even though I still feel like I won. But I'm like, they gave me a third round, which I don't think I didn't know. I know I cracked him towards the end of the round, but I was like, I don't think that was obviously even close enough to win in the round. It just pretty much kept me from getting a 10-8, I thought, So at that point, though, I was like, okay, the judges fucked up, and I got 30-27 because there's no way he won all three.
Yeah, I'll tell you personally, this is how I scored the fight, and I got to be completely objective. I thought you won rounds 1 and 2.
Yep.
I thought you definitely lost the third round. I thought worst case scenario, it was a 10-8 third round for Magny, yep. So this would be a draw. I thought you won the fight 29-28. It could have been a potential draw with that third round having been dominated by him, but I don't know, man. It was frustrating when you see all the stuff, media-wise. People are on different sides of the fence. Some people feel like, oh, Neil definitely did enough. He clearly won that third round, and you got to give one of those first rounds to him. I don't see it that way. I thought you won the first 2 rounds. I got to imagine afterwards it's a really tough pill for you to swallow.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's more just disappointing in myself, than anything else. So it's, I think I could have made the fight a lot easier, and I could have done a lot of changes to really dominate the fight. But now I gotta learn from it. I gotta move on. I have to suck the ego up and get back in there.
Now, are you and Neil going to follow one another on social media again? He did say afterwards that he looks at you as almost like a friend. He's fought on a lot of the same cards as you, and he cheers for you. You guys maybe bury the hatchet now moving forward?
Yeah, there's no beef there. It's all in fun, and I'm happy for him. I know he's got a kid and stuff, and he just won an extra $80K from that. So that's a good one. Maybe he needs to send me some money.
Now, were you aware that he almost wasn't going to be able to step into the cage? Did you know that beforehand?
Yeah, I was. The rumors were shuffling out there that they were pulling 3 fights, and Neil was one of those 3. And I'm like, shit, I'm gonna fight. I was trying to fight Mercery. So I was gonna go fight I was texting Sean right away, like, hey, because they're pulling Ian, they just pulled Ian. I'm like, I'll fight Jarrell, if you guys want. But then they're like, no, they actually had 2 guys flying in for us. So they already had a guy for Jarrell, and they were having a guy for me flying, which they're both fighting this weekend, I think.
Who is the guy?
It's the guy that's fighting Ivy right now. So it's the other guy. They're gonna have me fight him, and so. They already had backup plans in place, and I was like, obviously, I'm ready to fight. I was willing to move up to 85. I didn't care. I was like, listen, it's time to fight. And so I was ready. I was stressed out a little bit just because he didn't know. It was just always the unknown is what's stressful. It's not stressful. It's not fighting. I'll fight anyone. Like short notice, it doesn't matter to me. I'm just ready to fight. But it was more just stressful because I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, Christian Aguilar or Aguilar.
Yeah. That's who I was gonna fight.
Yeah. Okay. Well, glad you got to step in there with Magny, although the result wasn't what you wanted. I think it's clear as day that you showed everyone you belong in that top echelon of welterweights in the UFC. You went toe-to-toe with Neil Magny. A lot of people feel you won that fight, including myself. So I got to believe the future is bright for you. Let's talk about that contract. Did you get a chance to talk with anyone, Sean Shelby, anyone after the fight? Did you have any idea as to what they're thinking?
No, I texted Sean afterwards, and I just told him, like, hey, that wasn't my best performance. I'm no excuses. I'm not going to make excuses. I'm going to get better and do better next fight. And hopefully, he gives me that opportunity. And he just asked me how I'm doing health-wise. So I don't know if that's him just saying, like, am I ready to jump back in? Because it seems like they're trying to do all these quick turnarounds, you know what I mean? So that's why I got that MRI now to see. I have to have a 30-day suspension mandatory, but outside that, I'm ready to go to Abu Dhabi. So I'm ready.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Are you excited about that? That sounds like it would be a pretty fun event, one of those to be on down there in Abu Dhabi at Fight Island.
I would love to go there. I'd love to go there and experience their culture and get in there and fight in the sand. It's kind of crazy, man. I think that's something that excites me. I kind of like that. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping that we pull something off here and we can work out a new deal and I can get back in there obviously sooner than later. I mean, I don't want to be on the shelf that long. And really, I mean, I'd like to fight at least 2 more times this year.
Yeah. Yeah. If you had to put a percentage on the chance that you do re-sign with the UFC, obviously that's what you want. What do you think it is right now? Do you think it's 90-10, 80-20, 50-50? Like, what are you thinking?
I mean, I don't know. I think I'd say like 60-40. 60-40. I think 60-40, maybe 70-30. I don't know. The problem is it's like not the talks that they have. It's not, they don't tell me like, hey, we're gonna work something out. They don't tell you. It's kind of like I'm just waiting in purgatory or something like that. Obviously, like you said, I want to be there. If Neil would have ran me over, I wouldn't ask for a new contract. I would just tell him I'd walk my separate way. But I do feel like I won that fight. I do feel like I'm the better fighter. And I'm still 30, man. I still got a couple more years to my prime. And I think that I'm still learning, man. I haven't even figured out who I am as a fighter, I feel like, yet. So that's the process I'm trying to learn right now. And I think that the best of my career is still ahead of me. And I think the UFC would be losing an asset if they got rid of me at this moment.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I can't imagine the UFC not wanting to bring you back. To me, that would be bad business. Back in the day when I believe it was you said Sean Shelby said you weren't an exciting fighter and they were going to cut you or Ryan LaFleur, whoever lost that fight. Those days are long gone. You've proven yourself. You are a legit contender at 170. And I have to imagine that the UFC will be re-signing you. Have you talked to Ali at all? Has he said anything?
No, I haven't talked to him or done much of anything. I've been just laying low. And obviously, once my knee's healthy, though, I'll just text Sean and see where we're at from there. I think that, I stepped up. I came in and I fought. I was willing to fight on short notice versus Uriah Hall. Day of the fight was going crazy. I was willing to step in. So I think that, it's not asking for a favor, you know what I mean? But I do think that I need to perform better. I know I could perform better. So it's a thing where I'm gonna deliver, and so I just need the opportunity. And I think that Sean will see that, I was willing to put it on the line, and hopefully he gives me that opportunity.
Yeah. What did you do after the fight? Did you kick back and watch the remainder of the card? Did you go out in Vegas? Tell me what you did.
No, we just went back to the hotel. Obviously, it was just disappointment. It was just more disappointment because the wording of the judges was not the right wording. So it's kind of like, again, simple wording like, hey, Anthony Rocco Martin wins, and it's a whole different night where the moods change. Everything's a lot happier. But so no, we went back to the hotel. We watched the fights on Tyson's iPhone and just relaxed together, hung out, and it was a tough pill to swallow. It was it's just disappointment. And Tyson even said before the fight that after the fight, I think that the only thing I'll regret is just not doing something in the fight. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a thing where, more just disappoint myself that I didn't fight to my capabilities and to a level that I'm capable of fighting. So, but still thought it was enough. That's the thing that sucks, but that's where we're at.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, no reason to hang your head. Again, very competitive fight. A lot of people felt like you won. So all in all, a successful business trip. If you look at it big picture wise, you got to have some memories with some very close friends that you'll remember for the rest of your life. And you went toe to toe with one of the guys that's been a staple in the UFC. I believe he's 2 wins away from tying George St. Pierre for most wins all time as a welterweight. So he's been a guy that's been around for a while, and you were right there with him throughout the duration of the fight. Rocco, tell me, who do you feel like was the biggest star of the weekend on this card? I know who it was for me. I feel like he really, or I guess I should say, this individual really was a coming out party for them. What did you feel like overall as far as who was the biggest star on the night?
The biggest winner for sure was Sterling, I think. I think Sterling you almost felt like going into the fight that they wanted Sandhagen to win. You know what I mean? And you had that feeling of, I don't want to say they wanted him to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that Sterling should be fighting for the title. So for him not to be fighting for the title, like, puts up those red flags of like, what's going on? Why isn't he fighting it? So for him to win, how quickly he did it, how dominantly he did it, definitely aligned him for sure. Like he's fighting for the title next, no matter what. Like they can't deny him anymore. So I definitely think that he was the biggest winner of it. But I mean, also O'Malley put himself in a good spot with probably going to start headlining cards now himself. But Sterling, in my book, is definitely going to be the biggest winner after that.
Yeah, those are the two guys that stood out to me as well. I will say there's something about O'Malley that is Conor-like, you know? Like I'm not saying his striking is on Conor's level, although O'Malley believes that. He thinks he has the best striking in the UFC. That's what he said. Yeah. But there's something about him that just screams star. I mean, maybe it's his outlandish ways, his crazy hair, whatever it is. The UFC, I feel like, can get behind this kid and market him. What did you feel like of his performance against Wineland?
Yeah, well, I mean, he was the fight right before me, so I just kind of like saw highlights, you know what I mean? Because I was getting warmed up for my fight. But from the highlights, man, he looked dominant, looked good. Very long. He's a tall guy, too. He's like 5'11", and he was standing next to me. I'm like, geez, these 35ers getting big as the 70-pounders. I don't know what's going on. But no, he's good, man. He's going to be a star for sure. Like the guy already has almost 1 million followers on Instagram, you know what I mean? So it's not like he's already a star. And he won't be a Conor. Not talking cop. Like Conor went mainstream because of he's also like a decent looking guy. Like O'Malley's not a decent looking guy. I'm sorry. It's just he's a weird guy. He couldn't be a star. I'm not saying he's not gonna be a star, but like he won't be able to. I don't think he'll be able to get into that Conor stratosphere. You know what I mean? And but who does? Only Conor. So I'm not. But I think that he could be definitely a staple in the UFC and a star. He's young. He looked great, and it's still. I need to see him get a little bit stiffer competition now. I mean, he's definitely, fighting Wineland at this time is a lot different than fighting Wineland, 4 or 5 years ago. So, I mean, interested to see him with a little bit stiffer competition, but he's looked so dominant. So I don't know. He looks great.
Yeah. What was your takeaway from the Brandt KO of your training partner, Asuncao?
I mean, I don't think that Brandt looked quite as good as people were saying. You know what I mean? I think that I felt like he was very conservative, and it's weird, man. I don't know. How do you even look at the numbers of fighting? Like all of a sudden, I thought he won the first round. Then all of a sudden, you look at the numbers, it's like 12-5 in Asuncão's favor. I was like, I didn't see that. I don't know where these UFC stats are coming from, but I didn't see that when I was watching it. But I think that he's definitely very quick, very fast. I think if I was him, if he can make 125, he's going to be a big 25er. And I think that right now, he's easily could just walk his way into a title shot.
Yeah.
You're coming off a big KO. You're dropping weight. The UFC obviously likes him. So I think that if he can make 125, that he should drop, I think. That's my personal opinion.
Geez, you've seen him up close and personal. Do you think he can make 125?
I do. Like the reason why I say that is he's a big dude, though. He's got short reach, though. So he's only got like a 65-inch reach or something like that. So it might make him look a little thicker than what he really is. And I saw from looking at his belly at weigh-ins, he didn't look as shredded. Like he wasn't shredded. I'm saying, like some people when they're cutting a lot of weight, you can see you can see all the muscle definition a little bit. So I think if he could do it healthily, right? Like obviously, I don't think that he shouldn't do it if he can't do it healthily, but I think that he can.
Yeah,
I talked about it, so.
Right. Well, clearly, back with the big knockout win, that's huge for him, especially after coming off those 3 straight losses where he was finished. So good for him. I know the UFC's got to be happy to have him back in the win column and in the mix. I know O'Malley's calling him out. So a lot of killers at 135 moving forward. The UFC has some interesting matchups to make. Amanda Nunes, everyone knows how great she is. We've talked about it before. She's even better than I thought she was. I did not expect her to go in and dominate Felicia Spencer the way that she did. I thought Felicia Spencer, being the bigger woman, maybe stronger, might be able to outmuscle her in the clinch. Nope. Nunes did whatever she wanted, and that fight should have been stopped before it was. I felt like she took a lot of damage, and I think the referee, gave her maybe more of an opportunity to stay in that fight than she should have. Have you had a chance to watch that at all? And what is your take?
I watched the fight. Yeah, I thought that her corner. I mean, I don't know if she was taking so much damage where the ref should have jumped in, but it's more of like it's tough. Like mostly because I'm looking at these guys cornering her, and if I'm looking at it as a coach, you could see that she doesn't want to quit, but she can't. She's not offering anything anymore. You know what I mean? Like she's not going on the attack because she's taking big hits. Obviously, I think Amanda hit her right away, and she was like, "Oh, that doesn't feel like a normal punch." I think, and that changed the whole game plan of her fight. I think that I thought she had pushed Amanda around a little bit to try to get in, and maybe just start shooting a little bit more from the outside and really get inside. But I think she got hit hard right away and was like, "Oh, I got to be careful now," and it changed her whole game. It's a smaller cage as well. That smaller cage is a different fight. But Amanda's a beast, man. She's definitely the baddest woman on the planet. And I mean, I only see two people out there that can compete with her. So I don't know. I don't think there's any other competition for her other than Kayla and Cyborg. So
yeah. Well, I mean, we talked about Shevchenko before. Are you interested in that trilogy fight? I know I've heard a lot of people, even Joe Rogan, saying that that's the fight that he thinks would make the most sense, give Shevchenko another shot. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't think it's just because I mean, I don't know. It's just like a stylistic matchup. That's the only reason why I don't think Shevchenko's as good as Amanda. I think it's a stylistic thing where it's like Shevchenko might squeak out a close decision, but then you're like, I still don't think she's better than Amanda. I just think it's just like a stylistic fight where Shevchenko's very good at when anyone that hits her, she returns right away. She's so good at like getting those points back. So she's a great point fighter. I don't think she could ever knock out Amanda or submit her or nothing like that. So I don't think that's the right fight to make. They got to start building the division, and to build it, they're going to need to figure out how to get Kayla and Cyborg in the UFC again.
Yeah. Well, I watched a couple of Nunes's old fights before she was champion, and she's a completely different fighter. She just keeps getting better and better and going up and up in every aspect of her game. And if things keep progressing the way that they have been, Rocco, I don't know what else you can do other than maybe throw her in there against a guy. I mean, I can't think of any women right now that I've seen that can compete with her. She is just on another stratosphere. It's unbelievable.
It's her confidence. She's not scared to pull the trigger ever. His confidence is high. She's such a high level everywhere. And I do truly believe that right now would be a nightmare for anyone. But like I said, the only girl out there is Kayla right now. So I think that the UFC, if they can somehow pull it off, that's the only fight. And Kayla's still a little bit new. Like she might be a little too early, but she's so athletic and has such high grappling that she could definitely give it a very competitive fight.
Yeah. Well,
it'd be an interesting fight. That's the only fight I could see that. But I mean, Cyborg. I would like to see it again. I wanted to see the rematch. I did. I thought that the rematch should have been given, even though it was a fast knockout. But I do think that I would have liked to see a rematch.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's, good for Bellator that they signed her, but I think she's just going to be running through the competition over there. I agree with you. I would have liked to have seen her get a rematch. I mean, at the end of the day, she got caught, and kudos to Nunes. She finished her, capitalized on stunning Cyborg, but I would like to see that fight run back. I think Cyborg is a viable challenger. Clearly, historically, just looking at what she's done as a fighter, she would deserve that second rematch. When I look at the undercard, Rocco, one guy stands out to me, the sentimental story of the weekend. Cody Stamann gets a big victory, beating Brian Kelleher after losing his younger brother. Did you get a chance to talk to Cody at all during the weekend?
No, I didn't talk to him, and usually I'm weird with death, I don't know, like, I never feel like I have the right words. I'm not sure if there is right words, you know what I mean? But obviously, I definitely support him, you know, and obviously that's amazing what he did. It's took courage beyond anything that you can imagine, you know, stepping in there with the death just so recent. And, you know, just happy for the guy, you know, happy that he did that and accomplished his goals. And, you know, I hope the best for him and his family.
Yeah, no doubt. What else can be said? And I agree with you. I'm the same way. I don't really know what to say. It's awkward. It's such a touchy subject, but yeah,
Right.
just tip your hat to him for going in there, doing his thing, clearly with a heavy heart. All in all, I mean, UFC 250 was such an amazing weekend. You know, really, it was one of my most memorable cards for a while now. Although, you know, you did suffer the loss technically, if you look at what the judges said, but, you know, really so much fun to have UFC fights. And now Dana White has UFC Fight Island in Abu Dhabi. The welterweight title fight is made now. So we're going to see Gilbert Burns facing off against Usman. Teammates in there together. That's going to be a little awkward, don't you think? Do you feel like they're going to be able to pull the trigger and really get after it and go for blood, or are they going to hold back a bit?
Oh yeah, I think that they both have that. They're gonna have respect. They'll respect each other, obviously, and I think it's gonna be a good fight, man. I mean, Burns looked good, man. That first fight, I was like, geez, Burns looked good. I didn't expect him to look that good. You know what I mean? So it's a well-deserved title shot. You know, I would have liked to have seen Leon Edwards maybe in there, but obviously they said they offered it to him, but he couldn't fight. So Burns is just taking the whole division by the fucking horns and going with it. It's awesome to see. It's a remarkable story watching like what he did this year and him capitalize on the opportunities he was given. You know, he delivered and he earned his shot. And I'm excited to see it. But I think they're going to get after each other. I don't think they're not going to be friendly when they're in there.
Yeah, well, I'm excited. Well,
what do you think? Who do you got?
Well, I'm going to wait until we get a little bit closer so we can dive into it more and have some more MMA topics to discuss here on future episodes of the show. But I'm excited about this. I think that the fight card, the lineup that they put together already is amazing. It's really, they're just doing a fantastic job, especially with no live sports outside of the UFC right now. I mean, everything else is shut down because of the pandemic, and it doesn't look like things are going to start to open back up until the end of July. So really, the UFC is doing a phenomenal job of setting themselves apart from the rest of the sports world and really putting a stamp on the fact that they're the biggest fight organization in the world. Forget about boxing. That's a thing of the past. It's mixed martial arts in the UFC, and it's not going anywhere. It's a thing that will stay and be the future here of combat sports. Rocco, I do want to ask you too, now that you're back home, you're at your gym in Minnesota, you're getting ready, you're going to be in that 30-day medical suspension like we talked about earlier. Is there a name? Is there somebody that comes to mind that you think would make sense for your next fight?
I mean, it depends on the health-wise of Niko Price, you know what I mean? But I feel like right now, me and Niko are probably right on that same spot now of like right outside the top 15. Because I don't think that, you know, we both fought someone that I believe that we're both in the top 15 and they're competitive fights, you know what I mean? So I think that that's the fight to make. I think that is also an exciting fight. And, you know, I think that would be a fight that I think that would be exciting for the fans as well. I just don't know how he is health-wise right now, you know, because he's in that grueling fight. But I think that's the fight to make.
Cool. Well, hey, sign me up, man. I like it. I think Luque also would make sense. That would be an interesting matchup as well. Obviously, he just beat Niko, so plenty of fights to be made for yourself moving forward. Let's just get that contract signed and get you back in there for another 4-fight deal, right?
That's right. Heck yeah.
Awesome, brother. Well, listen, I'm glad we got a chance to catch up. Have fun, spend some time with your family, regroup, and we look forward to seeing you back in the cage soon and at episode 6 next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.